Another dissident Venezuelan mayor facing prison, Ramon Muchacho of the opposition bastion of Chacao, has gone into hiding after being sentenced to 15 months in jail.
It's another attack against the Chacao municipality made by the national government using the Supreme Court of Justice.
At least 10 opposition mayors have been fired or issued with prison sentences under President Maduro. A new UN report claims the threat to those who oppose the government is widespread.
So the interviews conducted remotely by the UN Human Rights team paint a picture of widespread and systematic use of excessive force and arbitrary detentions against demonstrators in Venezuela. The team's findings also indicate patterns of other human rights violations, including violent house raids, torture, and ill treatment of those detained in connection with the protests.
The government now has even more power to do as it pleases after forming a superbody called the Constituent Assembly, packed with government supporters, which has declared itself above all other legislative bodies in the country. It's expected to strip congressmen and women of their immunity from prosecution. President Maduro has already said one, Freddy Guevara, has a jail cell set aside for him. As the government cracks down, the opposition seem unsure of their next step. After 4 months of taking down the streets, numbers are down at protests. For example, the opposition called for nationwide roadblocks on Tuesday afternoon. As you can see, there's a few around in the opposition heartlands, but really there's not a lot going on. Elsewhere in the capital, Venezuela hosted its allies from the ALBA bloc of Latin American and Caribbean countries. But more countries in the international community continue to voice their disquiet. Also on Tuesday, a group including Chile, Mexico, Brazil and Canada had this to say.
The deformation of the democratic institutions that's been happening recently has arrived at its climax, and what we have in Venezuela is a dictatorship.
But despite the internal protests and international outcry, the government hasn't changed track and critics say is steadily increasing its grip on power. John Holman, Jazeera, Caracas.